What's up everybody, Mike here. I made some white chocolate cupcakes with a dark chocolate ganache, and you better believe I'm showing you how. So what I need in order to make the white chocolate cake aspect of this is laid out right here. The ingredients are as follows. I have 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt for the dry ingredients. The white chocolate aspect of this comes from 5 ounces of white chocolate that we're going to melt into 1 cup of whole milk. And then the rest of the wet ingredients are going to be 3/4 cup of white sugar with 1/2 cup of unsalted softened butter, that's 1 stick, 2 eggs, and 1½ teaspoons of vanilla. The equipment that you're going to need is going to be a stand mixer with the whisk attachment, a small saucepan with a lid, a rubber spatula, a rubber whisk, 2 additional mixing bowls, a cupcake tin with some cupcake liners, and then of course a scoop to get it into those liners. I'm going to walk you through the process to make this next. So the very first thing that you are going to do is you are going to combine your dry ingredients so that your baking powder and your salt are not clumped together whenever you actually start to mix it. So just dump it into that first bowl, whisk it together, and that is the very first step to make this cake. The second thing that you need to do is actually make the white chocolate liquid portion of your cake. It's going to start by you getting this milk nice and steamy so that you can melt your 5 ounces of white chocolate into it. So in my small saucepan, I am going to put it covered over a medium-low heat just until it starts to get steamy. A few minutes later, my milk is nice and steamy. I'm not seeing any bubbles, but I am seeing some steam coming up off the surface of that. So what I want to do now is take my steamy milk and pour it over my white chocolate and just let it sit for about 2 minutes or so to soften up that chocolate. This is also going to be the same technique, different ratios. I'm going to walk you through it for the ganache later on, but this is the same basic technique that you're going to use later. So let this sit for 2 minutes, and then you're going to stir it with your rubber spatula so that you're not whisking in any air, all right? Go ahead and let this sit, and I'm going to walk you through the next stages in a couple of minutes. All right, it is time to assemble the actual batter of my cake. So we are going to start by getting my butter and my sugar creamed together in my stand mixer with this whisk attachment. You're going to let it go for about 3 or 4 minutes until it is light and fluffy. I've shown you what I'm looking for with my creamed butter and sugar, so check out my other cake videos. So just go ahead and get this going. So now that my butter and sugar have gotten nice and white and fluffy, I want to go ahead and incorporate my eggs and vanilla, 1 egg at a time. Once your eggs have been fully incorporated into your butter and sugar mixture, you are going to start incorporating your dry ingredients and your white chocolate milk into this by alternating them a little bit at a time. You're going to do 3 stages of your dry and 2 stages of your wet here to incorporate. So go ahead and get your first stage of your flour, baking powder, and salt into your stand mixer. Once the flour is fully incorporated, you're going to add in 1/2 of your white chocolate milk. Once the first part of your white chocolate milk has been incorporated, you're going to add in 1/2 of your remaining dry ingredients. Once those dry ingredients are fully incorporated, you're going to add in the remaining white chocolate milk. Once your last part of white chocolate milk is incorporated, add in the last bit of your dry ingredients. and get this fully combined. Now that my batter has come together, I want to go ahead and scoop out my cupcakes. Once I have these portioned out, they are going to go into a preheated 300-degree oven for anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. You're looking for it to spring back when you touch the center of the top of the cupcake, but you don't want any type of color so that you can maintain that nice white look of this white chocolate cupcake. So I'm gonna pop these in the oven. You're gonna see what they look like when I pull them out next. So I have pulled my cupcakes out of the oven. It took about 35 or 40 minutes before I was able to push them slightly and have them just start to spring back. You can see that there really isn't any color that's developed. That is exactly what I'm wanting for these white chocolate cupcakes. I'm gonna let them sit in the tin for about 5 or 10 minutes before I remove them to this wire rack so that they can cool completely, and then I can drizzle on my ganache, which you're gonna see next. Making the chocolate ganache is super simple. All that you need are equal parts of heavy cream and dark chocolate. I'm using 8 ounces of each. The equipment that I have is just going to be a small saucepan. We have a rubber spatula and we have a mixing bowl. I'm gonna walk you through the process, but I already hinted at it earlier, but just stay tuned. Making the ganache is super simple. All I'm gonna be doing is taking my heavy cream and getting that heated over a medium-low heat until it starts to simmer, just like the milk from earlier. Once this is simmered, I'm gonna pour it over top of my dark chocolate, and I'm gonna let that sit for about 2 minutes to soften up and melt the chocolate before stirring it together with my rubber spatula. So, once I have that done, I'm gonna show you the drizzle process for my cakes. My ganache is done. It is nice and silky and smooth, and my cupcakes have cooled completely. So you can drizzle on as much or as little of this ganache as you want, but I'm just going to make sure that the top is coated. With the ganache fully covering the top of my cupcake, I'm just gonna let this completely cool down before I actually tear into it, which you're gonna see next. And that's how you make the cupcakes and the ganache. I really hope you like this, and I hope you like the new format. I'm gonna experiment around a little bit, but for right now, just look at my face.